a lot of people, you asked about order of lives. I think that a lot of people, the first regressions, you pick something that is safe for you to know. And most people don't pick something highly traumatic. Their subconscious gives them this life just to let them know, you know what, you have lived before. And then, depending on the person, they'll follow it up with additional regressions. It's very rare that the first regression is some very traumatic event. Eventually, if you have enough regressions, these things will come out, but it's usually not the first time. It's like you said, it's about when you're ready to receive the information, it comes out.
One movie that I think I mentioned the last time you were on, and it's one of my favorites, it's called Dead Again.
Oh, yes.
Awesome film. Go to the video store, rent it if you'd like. This is not a call for action. I'm just suggesting that it is a good movie. It's called Dead Again, and it's basically about past lives and really interesting twist at the end. It's a fabulous movie. I own it. Watch it all the time. And I think that sparked my interest in the entire into the entire subject. But it is really, I think we're seeing a lot more of regression therapy, I'll call it, coming into play now, because where people would have think that hypnosis was, phony, but when you go back and try to figure out why we have these fears or why we have these traits or what about us that might be causing, when you only want to regress a little bit to early childhood and then you stumble across something that...
Well, see, and in fact, that's how it became mainstream. Because you had these people that were used to doing regressions for childhood traumas. And they would regress people back to try to get to this point that had caused the problem in their adult life. But once in a while, the phrasing would be too general. And instead of saying, I want you to go back to your first birthday or your second birthday, they would simply say, I want you to go back to the traumatic event. I want you to go back to that event that triggers your problems now. And these people all of a sudden would start talking about life in, medieval France or life in, 18th century China. And these very professional psychologists and psychiatrists would go, whoa, but this is where their clients went to. When they asked their clients to go to the root of the trauma, their clients would just go back to a past life. And that's how I think regression started to become much more mainstream, because these people, they're in the healing profession, and they found out, regardless of their personal belief in past lives, their clients were doing much better because they'd addressed the root of their trauma. And so now a lot of people are using it in healings and the mental health profession. And, nowadays, it's almost common to hear people say, well, in a past life I must have been, And I don't think you would have heard that 15 years ago. I don't think a lot of people would have said, oh, in a past life I was, even as a joke. Yeah.
I mean, there's one other topic I want to get to before we go tonight, but I do have to take a quick break. And we will be back with more on past life exploration in about 2 minutes, so don't go anywhere.
If you think your kids aren't old enough to find your handgun, please think again.
Your neighbors are nice, huh? Chucky's finally got a kid his age to play with.
He seems to have fun playing over there.
Kind of like it, too.
If your kids play at a friend's house, please find out if the parents have a handgun.
Whoa. That's nice being alone for a change.
Hi, welcome back to The Experience. I'm your host, Steve Fox. Kind of got me a little off guard, but you got to see what goes on after the video is done, some little numbers and stuff. Sharon Alley is here, past life regressionist, hypnotherapist, guide person. I don't know what you would, whatever you'd call yourself. And our guinea pig, Carol, is here. And I do have a caller. I'd like to take that. Hi, you're on The Experience.
Hi, good evening, Steve.
Hi, who's this?
My name is Skip, and I'm calling from Leominster, and I'd like to ask Sharon a question.
Okay.
Okay, for the past, I'd say maybe 15 years or so, I've been a member of a audio club out in Chicago. I don't want to mention the name of it, but I sent away for a program called Mind Travel by Dick Sutphen. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Sharon?
I'm not familiar with that particular program.
Okay. Well, anyway, he goes into past life regressions, and he gives you the whole setup and everything like that, and puts you under a guided hypnosis deal and everything, and it's really enjoyable. My main question, though, has something to do with it's really weird. For the past 5 years, I've experienced a pain in my lower back. Okay. Now, I didn't know whether this was from a past life regression that is from a past life that has just introduced itself to me, but it comes around Christmas time and it disappears at Easter.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic.
Okay.
You've heard of it?
Now, my question, okay? All right. Now, I was foolish enough to call one of those 900 psychics.
Oh, right. They're pretty pricey.
Yes,
a lot easier than
very
cheaper to watch the
expensive,
show.
and I feel this is a little cheaper.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was talking to him, and they sucked me into the deal by saying that it was $3.99 a minute free for the first 3 minutes. That's what caught my attention. But that first 3 turned into an hour. Anyway, he told me about this pain that I had in my lower back, and he said it was some kind of a spiritual outlet. Now, I don't know whether this has anything to do with any kind of past life, or maybe it does. I don't know that I'm being introduced to now. Maybe you could elaborate on it for me.
Okay, thank you, and we'll talk about that, okay?
Thank you very much.
What about that?
Well, there are pains that are absolutely, this life has caused them. You lift something too heavy, you're going to strain your back. You know what caused those pains. But I have found with many of my clients that they'll have these pains that'll just come out of the blue. And it turns out that a lot of times, if you were severely injured or you died this way, that at the time of the injury in that life, say you're 30 years old in a previous lifetime, and you fall down the stairs and you break your arm. When you get to be 30 in this lifetime, for a certain period of time, you will have problems with your arm. There's some kind of energy linkage between these lives. And a lot of people that, especially people that drowned or have some kind of death where they have a problem breathing, when they get to be the age where they died, a lot of these people will become asthmatic, or they'll have 1 or 2 or 3 chest colds. They'll have this breathing problem. And so, especially a pain like that, what comes at Christmas and leaves at Easter, those are the kind of things I really think have some strong linkage with something that physically happened to you in a past life. And it's somehow, I think, there is bleed through. Okay, this may, for you people out there that want everything simple, you can just say lives are linear. But the more I study them, I think lives are side by side. I think there's multiple lives, and I think there's just bleed through between them. And
At
the pains,
one time.
Yeah, and the pains can go between one life and another. So, yeah.
When I can actually get an expert on time travel on, because I tend to see that there are so many worlds that are taking place now.
That's right.
It wouldn't surprise me in the least.
No, they're parallel like this. And in fact, I do future lives. I can get people to go to a life in the future.
Show. I don't remember you saying it the last time.
Well,
You'll have to
it
come
was maybe
back.
just a little too, But no,
no,
people can recall.
We'll do that.
You can get people to go and tell you just as much detail about a future life as a past life.
Really?
Because I think there's this time thing like this. Yeah. The world is an amazing place.